action.
I got laid off from my full-time job February 6, 2024. 10 years to the date of starting my business. And when I got laid off, I had no thought of what I would do. I already knew. Wouldn't you like to be in a position where you already know what it is you're gonna do when things hit the fan? She talked about the 300,000 women being laid off. Imagine knowing what your direction is already. When I say made for more, I'm not talking about more money. I'm talking about more peace, more fulfillment, more joy. The world sees you this way, but when you put your own thoughts, your own traumas, your own limiting beliefs, your own, I don't know if I can do this, in front of it, it changes the color altogether. Perception is stronger than reality. So how you perceive yourself is going to drive everything that you do. So I want you guys to clear your mind as I get ready to give you these 5 points and close out on how you can build your personal brand in 2026. These are the non-negotiables. The non-negotiables of building your brand go well beyond 2026. Perfect. And here's the thing. All right, so it's showing on. And sometimes things will work out exactly how you want them to, and sometimes they just don't. How you deal with that is going to determine what your brand actually represents about you. You know, one of the most important things you're going to do in the next few years is to build your brand. Man, it's something about, and I already know what some of y'all are thinking. Well, I'm not an entrepreneur. I don't need a logo. Why do I need to build a brand if I'm not trying to be an influencer? Let me stop you right there. Everybody needs a visible, credible brand moving forward. Everybody. Because we're living in a time where AI is everywhere. Resumes are being inflated. People are being laid off in the droves. And people genuinely don't know who's real, who's capable, and who's just loud. And nobody wants to attach themselves to anything that's not going to push them forward. So in that environment, the people who win are not the loudest. The people who win are the clearest. Think about it. If a company can't clearly understand your value, you might be gone. If leadership can't clearly see your impact when it's time for cuts, your name might come up. If a potential customer can't clearly understand how you help them move forward, they probably won't reach out. If leadership can't clearly see your impact when it's time for cuts, here's the thing that most people miss. Your name might come up, and I don't want you to miss it. If opportunities are always looking for you, the real question is, can they find you easily? Because you don't get chosen if nobody can see you. And you don't get chosen if you're not providing value. It does not matter how good you are. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm providing value to my Instagram following because for some reason it's not allowing me to go live to Instagram. And that can be frustrating. But look, as a high performer, I understand, because most high performers that I talk to, they aren't struggling in the obvious ways. They're producing, they're reliable, they're respected. They actually get things done. Right? Those are the things that are incumbent amongst high performers. But here's the thing. Sometimes it still feels like something isn't clicking the way it should. And I know exactly what that feels like. That's why I decided to combine everything I've learned from high performers into this conversation. So if that's you, whether you're corporate, entrepreneurial, some hybrid of both, doesn't really matter. This is a conversation that you need to tap into. Lean in with me. Grab your pen and your paper. Let me know how you're feeling out there, because I have been there. I can relate. I've been on every side of it. I've worked a corporate job. I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. Not full-time, but just an entrepreneur. And I've done both at the same time. I've been in the offices while working my business at the same time. I know how it is to have that hustle, which is a headache in itself. Here's what I've learned during that time. High performance is not about the path you choose. It's about how you show up on the path that you're already on. High performance is not about the path you choose. It's about how you show up on the path that you're already on. See, most people feel like that I don't like my job, or I don't want to do this. I'm just doing this to pay the bills, or this is not really what I am passionate about. I understand that, but guess what? You have to perform in that position as if it's the thing that you're passionate about. That's how you graduate. That's how you elevate. That's how you grow to be a high performer. It's not about getting in a position that you want to be in. It's about performing in a position that you're in as if it's the position you want to be in. So stick with me for the next 20, 25 minutes. We're going to jump right into it. For all my Instagram people, jump over to YouTube because, technology didn't allow me to do this properly today. So if y'all want to comment and have me read it, you're going to have to jump over here. But I'm going to go through what I consider the 5 V's that separate people and teams who advance themselves, who get chosen, who create opportunities, who wins the deal without chasing anyone. 5 V's. And when these 5 things are aligned, something interesting happens. Your brand will literally start taking shots for you. That's right. It will take the shot for you. That's what I call swish positioning. You know, swish. Like when a basketball player takes a shot, and the moment it leaves his fingers, you already know. No rim, no backboard, just net. My guy Stephen Curry does that on a regular basis. Sometimes it's like a no-look shot. Throws it up in the air, next thing you know, it's going in. He's on the way down the court. It's not because he's lucky. It's because he trusts his preparation. That's what proper positioning does for your brand. When your positioning is right, you walk into the rooms differently. You already know what's happening. You're spoken about differently when you're not even in the room. Your name is elevated differently because before you even open your mouth, people understand there's something about this woman. There's something about this man. So stick with me. Again, 5 things we're about to go through. I want to break it down. I want to give you 5 things. If you pay close attention to them and write these down and actually start applying them, because application is the biggest part. You guys can take notes and do all type of stuff, but if you don't actually apply it, then how can you expect something to move? But if you actually apply them, this will change how people experience you. And whether you know or not, that is the key part of branding, is how people experience you. Okay? So without further ado, number 1, the first V is value. The first V is value. Amongst high performers, whether popular or not, whether they're in the entertainment industry, sports, corporate, entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter. They all have this in common. It's value. What you consistently contribute. Now, I know this word gets tossed around a lot. It gets thrown around. People use value like it's air. You got to provide value. Give them value. Value first. It's not that simple, but it is that simple. So listen closely. Value is one of the most misunderstood words in business. Value is not how busy you are. It has nothing to do with how hard you work. Value is not about how passionate you are. It's not how hard you're trying to do the right thing. It's not your intent. Value is the measurable contribution you consistently deliver that improves outcomes for other people. It's a measurable outcome that you produce for other people. Let me say that one more time. I don't know if Instagram heard me. Do y'all hear me over here? Value is a measurable contribution you consistently deliver that improves outcomes for other people. And this is where most people miss it, which is why the word gets thrown around from podcast to podcast. Your values with a S determine how you deliver value without a S. If you don't have values, it's going to be very difficult for you to produce consistent value. Your integrity, your discipline, your consistency, your commitment to excellence. Those things don't show up on a resume. They're not listed on a KPI report. It's definitely not in your Instagram highlights and insights. It definitely ain't on TikTok either. Okay? Those values show up when you're under pressure. They reveal who you truly are when no one's watching. They show up when things don't go as planned. You know, I want to quote Mike Tyson here. I feel like it was him who said it. I think he said, everybody can fight until they get punched in the mouth. That's when the real you shows up. That's when we find out if it's an imposter or not. Your value, the value that you bring is not about how good you can do a thing. It's about how you respond when those things go bad, when things don't go as planned. Who are you in those moments? Believe it or not, that directly impacts the value you bring. Now, don't get me wrong. You can bring value with little to no, values. Little to no value, you can still bring value, but it won't be consistent. And if you don't consistently bring value, visibility won't elevate you. The only thing it's going to do is expose you, which leads to the second V, visibility. Okay, so the first V was value. The second V, as it relates to the commonality between high performers, is visibility. Who sees your value? All right, so let's talk about this. I have to say this. I want to be very clear because a lot of people misunderstand it. Visibility is not self-promotion. It's not posting more. It's not being loud and posting just to post. Visibility is simply making sure that the right people can see the value that you already bring. You can do great work and still get overlooked if nobody knows what you're actually contributing. I know plenty of people who have talent, but it's not really shown because it's cluttered behind the fog of who you are appearing to be because you're too afraid to show your true layers. And I've seen this happen to really good people. People who care, people who show up, people who do what they say they're going to do, but their work stays hidden. Their impact stays quiet and eventually frustration sets in. Not because they're not valuable, not because they don't have good values and they're not a good person, but because their value isn't visible. Visibility without value just creates a whole bunch of static. It's noise, it's fog, it's a veil over the eyes of your potential customers or the boss that you want to give you a promotion. Value without visibility creates stagnation. High performers learn how to hold both. And once you understand that visibility is actually a part of responsibility, not your ego, it stops feeling uncomfortable. I remember when I first started truly promoting myself as a brand, I felt a little weird out in public, pulling out my tripod and having my phone out and trying to get the world to see me. I'm like, here I am, being one of those people I used to look at and go, look at her, look at him. Can't even just enjoy the moment. Got to capture your content. Yep, and I became that guy. But I had to let go of my ego in order to do that. I had to become somebody different who was still comfortable in his own skin, but who understood that this visibility that I need is a responsibility of mine. Who am I to stop someone from getting what it is I have to offer the world? That would be silly. All because I was wondering what somebody thought about me when they probably weren't even thinking about me. And let me say this while I'm on this subject. Some people struggle with the idea of being the face of their brand. I'm not here to tell you that you have to be in front of the camera and you have to be a superstar or influencer. That's not what this is about. But I am here to tell you that if you want to be valued in the way that high performers are, your visibility is going to be a part of that. Now, let's address it, right? You're talking about corporate people. Yes, your visibility matters too. They care about what you look like on LinkedIn and how you're networking with people. When you get on the Zoom calls, do they see a picture and a name, or do they see a video of you with proper lighting, with audio where they can hear you? All of that ties into your visibility. It matters. Now, the natural progression of the first two V's that I gave you, value and visibility, leads us to our third V, which is your voice. Use your voice. How you articulate value is the third thing that matters. Your voice is how your thinking travels. It can't just be you having the values and not being visible, or you having the value and being visible, but nobody can hear you. And a lot of people struggle here because they don't have insight. Or they have the insight, but they don't trust it. They wait, they overthink. They think, oh, well, there's no point in me saying this. There are 20 other people saying this. Oh, well, no one wants to hear my opinion. Everybody else already gave their opinion. Why should I, give my thoughts? They wait, they overthink. They keep their head down. High performers don't wait to feel perfect. They contribute perspective. They ask better questions. They help move conversations forward. And thank you for my Instagram people. Y'all come on over to YouTube. I'm doing this on YouTube. I'm gonna probably leave a comment and post it here so y'all can follow me here. And if you're watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, leave a comment. Let me know where you are. But listen, voice isn't volume. It doesn't matter how loud you talk or how often you talk. It matters how clear you are when you talk. You don't need to dominate the room. As a matter of fact, the people that get the most attention, that are the most intriguing, are typically the quietest. You need to add direction to the room. Because if you don't articulate your value, someone else will define it for you. And most of the time, that definition will be incomplete. I can't tell you how many times I've been in rooms and people have made assumptions about me before even hearing my voice. But I've learned to build myself up in a certain way and walk in a room with certain confidence that eliminates most of that. And if it does happen, then those people just are ill-informed. And by the end of the night, hopefully they will be informed. But your voice is one of the fastest ways to change how people see you, their perception of you. And I talk about it all the time in my community. A person's perception of you matters more than your reality of who you are. So it's important to control that narrative without you changing your title or your role. I'll never forget my last tenure at an organization. I got called by the CEO. He just, he put out a thing and said he wanted to talk to some people that were working boots on the ground next to the customers directly. Like 800 people applied. Then he narrowed it down to 44 people, and they did a quick little interview, and I got selected. He picked 8 people out of the initial 800. And when we had our conversation, I knew who I was. He didn't necessarily know who I was. But in the first few minutes, he developed a perception based off of what I was saying. By the end of the call, I started getting pings from other people in the company because he was mentioning things, etc. So here's my point to you. My voice is the thing that allowed me to be in that position. But I was already moving consistently before that, which leads me to my fourth V. We're talking about the commonalities between high performers. And the fourth V, right? Let's run back down. We got value, visibility, we got voice, and then in number 4, we have velocity. How consistently you move is key. We talk about momentum in our community all the time. Momentum is a continual thing. If you imagine a bowling ball going down the lane, getting ready to strike pins, it's moving at a certain velocity. Its friction on the lane is slowing it down, even though it's still moving. And once it hits those pins, it slows it down even more. It didn't even take it off its path. I don't know if you noticed that well, maybe you guys don't notice. I bowl strikes all the time, so I notice it all the time. Okay, sometimes it's gutter balls, but it's rare. But anyways, when the ball actually hits the pins, it moves it ever so slightly to the right or to the left, depending on, how you rolled it, etc. Even though that pin weighs a fraction of the weight of that bowling ball, because it has mass and because it's sitting still, it changes the momentum of that ball. Your brand, your business, your career is no different. But let me be clear, velocity is not moving fast. Velocity is moving consistently. So going back to that bowling ball example, if I continually push the bowling ball, it'll keep going forever. But if I only push it once, it will eventually stop. High performers don't just start things, they finish, they follow up, they circle back, they adjust. Don't go to these networking meetings. Don't get into these rooms and just exchange numbers and then not follow up. I believe the going rate is a follow-up is mandatory within 48 hours. It's just what you should do. High performers circle back. They adjust. Somebody said my YouTube isn't working. Oh no. Technology. You gotta love it. I'll repost this later. For those of you who are watching on Instagram, I apologize in advance. Thank you. That's so weird. That is so weird. Whenever you're trying to do something great, there's gonna always be some disruption. Just know that. I might run this one back as a live call on Zoom just to make sure you guys can get this. So Nicole says, I tell everyone they need to follow up within 24 hours. I got to figure out why this isn't doing what it needs to do. I'll figure it out later. I tell you, don't you just love it? That's okay, though. We're not going to let that stop nothing. Back to the high performers. Matter of fact, I might pull y'all up here so y'all can see me a little better and I can see your comments. High performers adjust. When things go wrong, high performers just figure it out on the fly. That's what high performers do. Pow. All right. We here. But I'm still talking here because I don't know if it's live or not, if you can hear me or not. We're going to make it work. I think we're good there. Okay. See, that's why I need my own producer. I produce these things for other people, but it's hard to produce and perform. It shouldn't be the case. God is going to give me a producer one day. But look, high performers don't disappear when things get uncomfortable and technology is not working and YouTube is silent even though it's supposed to be going and Instagram is on your phone when it's supposed to be on your computer. This matters more than people think because people don't trust intentions. They trust patterns. Velocity builds trust because people know exactly what to expect from you. And here's something I had to learn myself. Momentum doesn't just happen. That's right. A bowling ball ain't gonna get down there by itself. You have to do something. It is created. It is small actions that add up. The China Wall was not built by a machine in 3 days. It was consistent over time, brick by brick. That is velocity. It does not change. It does not move. I had a talk with my mentor today. He said, you got to become like water going downhill. You might run into a rock or a tree stump. You either go around it on the left, go around it on the right, or go through it. And I was like, that is so potent. It's so real. Like, become water downhill and your velocity will never stop because you're consistently moving. All right, number 5. All right, number 5. We made it, y'all. We got 5 V's, even though somebody's telling me LinkedIn and YouTube is not giving me the audio I need. And look, I'll be clear. I've been rehearsing and practicing and getting this set up since maybe like 3 o'clock. I've been preparing for this. But Myron Golden is famous for saying disruption always follows intention. Always. But you got to be Johnny on the spot. You got to be ready to go. And I'm always ready to go. So number 5, let's do a quick recap again. The 5 V's for high performers. These are consistent things that they all have. They all provide value. They all have visibility. They all use their voice. They all have velocity. And finally, this is not in chronological order or linear in terms of the order that you should do it in, but this does matter. Number 5 is vision. Where are you headed? A man without vision is, I don't even know the scripture or what it says, but it's not a good thing. Write the vision and make it plain. The vision comes up all the time because vision answers a simple question. Where is this going? High performers don't just complete tasks. They understand direction. They don't just ask like, what do you want me to do? They ask, where are we headed? What's the next step? What's the plan? What's the vision? Because then everybody on the team can be on the same path. And vision doesn't require a title. You don't have to be the CEO to have vision. It only requires perspective. When you have vision, your effort makes sense. Your decisions make sense. Because guess what? If it's not aligned with the vision and you have to make a decision on it, you're probably not going to do that thing. But if you don't have a vision, then decisions are just going to be random and go all over the place. If I have a vision of sitting with my family to eat Sunday dinner this weekend, we're gonna sit in the house and eat a cooked meal together. That's my vision. When Sunday comes and my daughter says, I'm hungry, Dad, do you think I'm getting ready to order pizza? Probably not. There's no probably in it. That's not going to happen. Without vision, even hard work can feel like you're scattered and all over the place. Vision is what ties everything together. Okay, so when all 5 of these things are aligned, your value, your visibility, your voice, your velocity, and your vision, something changes, not just within you, something in the world, something in your environment, something in the people that you're talking to. You stop forcing things. You stop chasing things. I've been a full-time entrepreneur for 2 years. I've had several opportunities, lucrative opportunities, that I turned down or walked away from because it wasn't a part of my vision. It wasn't a part of what God has given me as a vision. I walked away from. I don't need to chase that. That's not where I'm going. I know where I'm going. When all of those things are aligned, you stop questioning whether you're doing enough or whether you're doing the right thing because now you're positioned. That's what swish really means. When Stephen Curry takes that shot and that ball comes off of his fingers, I want y'all to think about that. He's 25 feet from the basket. The crowd is around him. Defenders are in his face trying to stop him. When that ball leaves his fingertip and that ball comes off, he knows if it's going in or not. I want y'all to think about that. Imagine being in a position where your brand takes the shot. You DM the person. You email that cold lead. And you already know it's going in. You could just run back down the court because you already know what's getting ready to happen. Imagine that. This is why I don't believe growth happens from one conversation. Like, you're not going to be able to just take this live and then go, oh, okay, I'm going to apply these things he just talked about, and now I'm shooting 3-pointers and turning around and running down the court. No, I've never seen it work that way. I don't think anybody has, other than the people who saw Jesus walk on water. Okay, that was about it. Peter and the rest of the disciples. But Stephen Curry was shooting 500 shots every day since high school or college or something like that. I don't want to misquote it. So fast forward 15 years, of course he knows it's going in. What actually creates that kind of change is being in an environment where you can revisit these ideas, apply them, get accountability, get feedback, and make small adjustments over time. That's why I built House of Brand. It's a space for high performers who know that they're capable, but want to be more intentional about how they're positioned. Inside the community, we have monthly coaching calls where we slow this down and we really talk through it. We look at how you're showing up. Just last week, we did like a brand therapy session where we're like practicing pitches and stuff like that. We talk about how you're perceived. We look at your digital footprint. And we talk about how to build a brand that doesn't just rely on effort. It relies on alignment. A brand that can take shots for you before you even walk in the room. So if this made sense to you, pay attention to that. Most high performers already have what they need. What they're missing is someone that can help them see the gaps that they can't see themselves. I don't know about you, but you ever been riding down the road and you look at that mirror and it's like objects may appear closer than they are? Yeah, there's a blind spot in between that, which is why when you're getting over and switching lanes, you have to actually look. You have to turn your head and see the blind spot that the mirror is not showing you. What if you had somebody to help you point out those blind spots in your business, those blind spots in your brand? That's the type of alignment that changes how you move and how you're seen. And what comes your way is all the opportunities that you're looking for with very minimal effort. Okay, so that's what this work is about. It's about getting positioned so that when the opportunity comes, it's already lined up, the shot will go in and make a swish. So that said, if you want to be a part of this community, our next monthly call is on February the 19th. But we're doing stuff in between that time. We're getting ready to have a game night. It's all type of fun going on, but it's less about building what you want, and it's more about building what you were destined to build. So I'm excited about everything that we have going on. Throughout the technology going wrong and happening, we still made this happen today. Okay, so we're going to continue the conversation in the House of Brand. If you're interested in joining, just go to community.rodbrinson.com. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the other side.